All right, guys, wherever you may be, thank you for joining us today for another Flare Forward. We have Nicholas Lobue, the fantastic designer of the Oxenflow wallet and also runs his own FTSO. So we're here to check out what Nick's kind of got going on, what his future steps are, and get some of those win questions out of him that we know Hugo hates to hear. So hopefully we'll get something out of Nick that's a little more stable, but maybe not. Developers are developers still. So Nick,
Cool.
man, how's it going,
Hey,
brother?
thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it. My bad. I'm just setting this up, see if I can get a little demo. But uh,
Yes.
yeah, no, I mean, exciting times. We got some good news with institutions giving a little bit of interest to FXRP and XRP staking and yield. So that's always a good sign. And that's a good sign for developers like me because I build things that help generate yield.
For
So
sure. We understand you. I mean, we're also like betting all our work on like this moving forward. So yeah, I understand you exactly.
yeah, congrats on that launch. Did you guys launch fully yet or no? Are you guys still in beta?
Friday. We're gonna launch our beta Friday. So really
Cool.
like 70% off discounted item because there's gonna be bugs and things that we want people to work out. Like, I mean, I
Yep.
love it. I love like I don't code, but yesterday I installed a setup where people pay with their credit cards, the system will monitor it, turn them on and off, so I don't have to do any work. And then that broke down the other login features. Like it was phenomenal. Like I had a piece, broke everything else. It was great.
Yeah, no, I feel that pain. Let me trust me.
Oh, mad respect, brother. Mad respect.
Uh,
Are you using any vibe coding at all?
Say it one more time.
Are you doing
Definitely
any
not.
vibe coding at all?
Oh, vibe coding? No, I'm not. I mean, I use the tools to my advantage where necessary, but I mean, it's more so. The thing is with AI coding and vibe coding, it's a little bit
I've lost you guys.
vibe code with like contract development and that kind of thing. Uh, the models really they don't pick up on a lot of things really well. So um, it is what it is.
It'll get there for you,
I
brother.
do this for a living anyway, so I'm cool with working it out. It keeps the mind sharp.
I can't even imagine what that whole process is like. I just get to tell it to do something that's great. I mean, it's
Yeah.
and when it doesn't do it, I say, hey man, you screwed this up. What's going on? Oh, you broke this. Why don't you fix this too while you're at it?
Yeah,
It's
yeah, yeah. That's I mean you got a little developer for you.
For sure.
funny.
But no, yeah, I mean, some of the I'm currently working on integrating with FXRP. Yeah, as you know, it's on testnet, it's on Costin too. Um and yeah, so I've started the process to, create this user flow that makes it really simple. In a couple of taps, you're ready to go. It notifies you when the mint is complete, and and that's really it. Like I'm really working to streamline the process and make it easy for users to bridge their XRP to Flare, and then in turn put that XRP to work. So I'm really looking forward to getting that out for FS sets to actually go live on mainnet. But really, I'm just preparing for it, to be frank.
Will
And
we be ready day one?
I don't know. That's a stretch. I never, I don't, I wouldn't make any promises on that. But the idea is to be ready on day one. There's still a couple of things that need to be done, and really, it also depends on when Flare decides to launch as well. So, uh,
Oh yeah.
so yeah. So it's a little bit of me, a little bit of them, and I don't know. Either way, whenever it happens, it's going to happen. That's for sure. It's a matter of time now.
Oh, for sure. Like that was the one thing we were kind of joking about, where crypto took a massive drop. And it was like, why? Who's dumb enough to sell? Like, especially Flare, you just had 2 billion of nationally publicized. They're not gonna stop, like they're gonna put the money to use no matter what's going on in the world. So who's sold that much? I don't know.
It's algorithms. Um, Being in this long, I don't know how long you guys have actually been investing and investing in crypto, but I mean, I've been in this for, I guess, I don't know, maybe 7, 8 years now. And you just kind of realize that there's the ebbs and flows of all these algorithms and uh, not even just algorithms, they're just probably, it's a lot of arbitrage and, uh, you know,
And the liquidations also push the
tie
price down.
everything, tie all the markets from different sexes together. And it's just like, if you pull liquidity from one of those large pools, then you're able to kind of manipulate the market whichever way you want. It's kind of crazy. Um, but yeah, it doesn't even necessarily mean that, you got people selling. It's just the market movements themselves that you're watching. And when you can change the narrative at the right time, which I think that's probably what Flare is trying to do, then you get a breakaway. But you know it's, to me, the market hasn't moved that much, so it's been pretty stable in my
I
opinion.
mean, I got waxed pretty hard on my longs. I mean, they all three got liquid. Nothing more than I was willing to lose.
Because you're
And
using leverage, aren't you?
yes, sir. I mean, come on now.
I know that's kind of your bet. I don't use leverage. I don't use
Oh
so
man. So
uh,
you got the XRP coming out. I'm sure so many people want to know this. When are you going to do something besides the Apple version?
so I don't know, as I was saying before, kind of when we hit critical mass where we're starting to get users where it's taking a little bit less effort and the revenue is starting to come in, that's really when we're going to begin our Android implementation. I know a lot of people think that there's more Android users in the world. There are, but there's a big but. Are you guys still there?
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. There's a big but is that so our target market is primarily in the United States. That's really where we want to kick it off. And then we'll expand a little bit towards marketing to different demographics all over the world. It is available all over the world, but again, our target is to kind of grow it in the United States first. Um, and there's a reason for that. There's also a reason for keeping it Apple first. And one is because it's a limitation of resources, right? Like this is our proof of concept. We want revenue to be out first. We want to prove that we're pulling in revenue. We want to prove that it's something that users actually want. And Apple generally has I don't want to say higher paying, but a more consistently paying user base. So in that turn, you kind of gauge that as like, okay, that's the quality of user, and it tends to be higher on Apple devices. The second part of that is that in the United States, there are more users with Apple devices than there are with Android. So those are the two main reasons why we launched Apple first with iOS first. Um, and again, downstream of that, it's resources, and my expertise is also in iOS. So this is something that I'm aware of, and I know that apps which are usually successful, they tend to launch on iOS first. So eventually there will be additional platform versions. There will also be a Mac OS version, so a desktop. So even if you don't have an iPhone and you have a Mac computer, you'll be able to you know, tap into the app on desktop, which is going to be really nice. And we also use pass keys, and our setup is actually pretty platform agnostic, aside from the secure enclave implementation. But most platforms have their own version of that. Um, so we're going to be tapping into all that. But it's also security first. So when you're building these things, it's not a, build it and it's going to be done in a week, that type of thing. It's going to need audits. It's going to need a pretty thorough testing. The fact that the iOS app has been out this long, it gets testing just by being out.
Oh yeah.
Bugs that we come across, those are all resolved, and then that's basically the next iteration. We put out another thing. So it's been through a few iterations already, and then these other platforms will probably take a little bit. They'll be quicker, but it's just not going to be okay, we're building it, and then the next day it's going to come out type of deal. So
Yeah, lots of audits and stuff with that. So I got to ask you for, what do you mean by platform agnostics? Let's break that down a little bit for more people are kind of not.
So from a technical perspective, platform agnostic means that, it's portable to be able to develop it from, something like a browser to an Android device to an iOS device to a desktop app. So, platform meaning, the medium of, app, right? Like your iOS device, that's a platform. Your iPad, that's a platform. Your MacBook is a platform. Your Android device is a platform. And I mean, again, like your browser itself is technically a platform as well because it is a different medium. Um, but yeah, so that's what I mean by platform agnostic. And I get like as we scale, right? Like those platforms will all kind of they'll start to launch. And I mean, really what we need and the prime indicator is revenue, and our revenue is fee based. We just take minimum fees on things like token swaps. We have some we do auto claims for users, and that's another, source of fees that we take. They're usually you don't even notice them. They're minimal fees on these types of things. Like even our token swap fee, it's smaller than the Phantom token swap fee. So we try and keep it unintrusive. But as we scale, like these fees add up. That's our revenue, and it's a business model that has worked for other applications. So I plan for it to
Walmart model,
again. Say it again.
the Walmart model.
I is that what they do? The
Yeah,
Walmart.
I mean, you're talking they have hundreds and hundreds of products that they run through, but their margins on each product are very thin because
Yeah.
they run in volume versus quantity.
Right, and it's a volume thing, and I mean, it's still, it's a service, right? Like I'm providing a service. The app itself is a service to the user, like technically we can even go with a paid version as well that, gives users additional features, which is something I've thought about. But at the same time, like I want to grow this organic user base and start generating revenue without even having to do that. Because it also keeps up with the ethos of uh, this decentralized paradigm where we are still working on blockchain, right? Like we want it to be accessible. I don't really want to be blocking users at every stage. Here's a paywall so you can use this feature, that feature, and the other thing. I mean, at the same time, like it is a service that I'm providing, but I do want to keep it as open as possible. And again, users can go to other platforms and do what the Oxenflow app is doing, but they're going to have to figure out how to do it. They're going to have to figure out how to do it. They're going to have to figure out what, this decentralized application, I got to go to the browser. I got to figure out what this, and this are doing. Really, when you go to Oxenflow, you send Flare to it, you send XRP to it, you can deposit directly from your bank account to it. Okay, you have it on the platform. What do I need to do with it now? You can go to the Earn tab, you tap a button, and then you start generating yield. There's no need to go through, have to figure out how this delegation works. How do I wrap my Flare? How do I unwrap my Flare? How do I do this, that, and the other thing? It's all done for you. And you're technically doing it yourself, right? The platform, the app itself is doing it for you, but it's on your device. Like you're owning that. Like you're completely in control the whole time. You have custody of your funds at all times. There really is no middleman, right? Even apps use an API that sends transactions, or they use it as a proxy. You're actually signing the transaction on your device and sending it directly to a node on the network for submission. So, it's this hybrid type of model where you have full custody, but we have it set up for you where you don't need to figure out anything. Just tap the button and go.
Well, and it's so funny too, right? Because I work with you on to help kind of show some stuff, and like one of the things that I ran into is being an avid Flare user. I was like, "Hey, bro, how do I unwrap my
Right.
my funds from the the delegation so I can send them?" You're like, "It'll do it automatically," and I was like, "Oh, all right," because I'm used to doing multiple steps, and so that's where some of that things that we know will actually go away for people who don't want. I mean, it's an extra step that's not needed. So it's amazing.
Right. You can just treat it as the one-to-one. Like imagine yourself as a new user who's never delegated, who's never done any of that before, but you do want to get involved with blockchain, with Flare, and you want to earn, right? Like you don't need to know about wrapping, unwrapping, and delegating. You actually, the app wraps it, delegates it for you. If you want to send it anywhere, it unwraps it for you. Like you can just be a one-to-one with Flare. You can treat it like its own currency, right? And I think that's really where Oxenflow stands out. There's other apps that kind of, try and abstract out maybe the security portion of it, right? Like they abstract out the security portion. It's easy. You can sign transactions. You don't have to look at the details of the transaction. Okay. But you still need to know how to use the app that you're interacting with. Or they kind of, what I take as the easy way out is they implement a browser, right? Like, yeah, it gives you more reach into other decentralized applications, but you also need to be a more advanced user to understand how to use that browser and how to, navigate to a direct page. And again, I believe that the implementation that we have at Oxenflow is a browser also introduces this vast black hole of user error, and how am I going to go and debug something that a user is going to, a user goes to the wrong web page and then gets wallet drained. A user goes to a D app. I don't even know what D app it is. I don't know how to work it, or customer service doesn't know how to deal with it. They've never encountered it before. You're just shit out of luck. And that's kind of a tradition in crypto, as of forever, where people try and get customer service for something, or they try and figure out what they're doing and they get no support from the platform that they're using. And like, to an extent, it's understandable, but it kind of runs rampant. And the fact that we're like honing in on things that we know, things that are inside of the app, you do like kind of pigeonhole the user to using whatever's in the application, but at the same time, you're really reducing vastly the amount of user error. So I think we're doing something different from a lot of the different wallet apps, and I think that's really where we're going to stand out. There's so many users on iPhone in the US that just they don't know how to get involved in crypto, and we're trying to be the first ones to really make it a thing.
Oh, I think you will. Like I said, I mean, uh, there there's a group though that I think super untapped, which we've talked about, is those people who don't want to mess with crypto, but they want to earn the yield off crypto. They
Right.
don't feel comfortable with the fluctuation of those tokens and stuff. So your app would give them a way though that would allow them to onboard, hopefully in the future, directly to the dollar, and then back that to right into Kinetic or whatever, maybe some LP pools down the road. Something simple, something they can understand and
Right.
understand the reward, the earn, and drive on.
Right. I mean, and the most basic thing for them to understand is earning interest on their supply, right? They're loaning out, or it's very similar to just having a high yield savings account, which a lot of people do today. If the number of people who put their money into a high yield savings account I mean, it's a very high number. Uh,
And your yield will be way more than their high yield savings account.
Exactly. It'll be way more, and it's just as simple as moving it to a high yield savings account, and it's just as simple to move it out. So, uh, it's really everything's becoming tokenized, but the user interface, everybody says, oh, it's the Web 2 for Web 3, we're going to onboard the next billion users, but they're not going to onboard the next billion users because they're doing the same thing as the same company as over and over again. Like there's nothing different from a Web3 company today than there is 2 years ago. There really isn't. They're not doing anything different. I think we are. And we're also built on Flare too. And the Flare is eventually going to be cross-chain. We're going to be even more abstracted out from that idea of you're tied and pigeonholed into this one asset type of application, one network type of application. And I mean, that was the main reason that it was built on Flare, you know, like I can even see, you know, FBTC coming down the line and integrating with Bitcoin, and you're onboarding.
That would be incredible.
I mean, it would be huge for us, but it would also be huge for all that community. What do they do with all that Bitcoin? Absolutely nothing. So if there's an easy way for them to put it to work, then and there's an easy platform or UI or UX that they can go through, by all means. I mean, I think there should be something there. I mean, what was it? Correct me if I'm wrong. Was it BlockFi? And I think I've posted about this before because it was something that I remember when I was first, you know, starting to get into crypto and looking at all these applications for storing the crypto and all wallet applications. And I think it was BlockFi, where that was one of the big ones that went under because they were kind of just, you know, willy-nilly loaning out or promising these yields for locking up their Bitcoin and doing all this, but it was a completely custodial platform and it was just a shady way to do things. They had a great user interface. They had a lot of users, but again, like the technical foundation was not sound. And being that we're built on Flare, you know, I think we can offer similar things to BlockFi, but our technical foundation is completely sound because we are built on Flare.
So what are the ways that you can earn right now on Oxenflow, and what's on the pipeline?
So big ways are there's delegation, right? So you're delegating to the FTSO. The other one is flare drops, which a lot of people forget about, are going to end in about, I believe it's 8 months now. So there's about 8 more flare drops left. So those are the two big ones. Once you delegate, you're getting both delegation rewards and flare drops. And the third big one, and I guess there's a two-part to this because you're getting additional, but is Kinetic right now. So Kinetic, you know, the yield is still low on USDT zero on Kinetic, but it will increase. So you're able to just supply USDT zero, which is a one-to-one with the US dollar. So you're ipso facto, you know, loaning out your US dollars and earning interest on it. So you supply it to Kinetic in a one-tap fashion, and you just sit there and earn interest. You accrue interest on it every few seconds, actually, and you can see it going up in the application. And I think that's going to be also something that's going to help users understand what they're doing. They have a ticker that's going to say, "Oh, well, this is what I deposited, and I can literally see this number going up. I like that." And when you deposit with Kinetic, you're also earning our Flare rewards currently. So you're earning on top and on top. And we make it easy for our Flare as well. I mean, our Flare is a little bit of a complicated concept to understand, especially if you're a new user. Again, it's something that we're making easy in the Oxenflow app. You can go, you're earning our Flare, you can see it accrue. You actually have to, there's a few steps to even claim the R Flare, right? So it's a vesting type of token. Where you need to basically claim it and then let it sit for it to vest so that you can claim it into actual Flare. And eventually, those R Flare will all become a one-to-one with Flare. But if you claim them early, you lose 50% of them. So I built it out in a way so that you can claim whenever the Flare itself becomes available. And again, it's just another way that we're making it easy to interact with this ecosystem that is, it's complex, but it's technically sound. And there's just so much opportunity, especially now being early. So, and again, second part of the question, what's coming? FXRP is coming. Firelight, and Firelight's been a big name that I've been seeing all over, and they're the ones that seem like they're going to be the leader in restaking on Flare. So you're going to be able to take your XRP. This is all from the Oxenflow app as well. Oxenflow holds XRP, it holds Flare. So we're integrated with both networks. So it makes it easy. If you can send your XRP to the Oxenflow app, to your XRP address. As long as you have enough for the collateral reserve, you can bridge your XRP to Flare, and you'll be able to use that XRP to earn yield. And Firelight's going to be a big one. We're going to be doing direct integration. There's a lot of the technicals and a lot of the concepts are still, in flux. Like it's not set, but you're basically just going to be able to bridge your XRP to Flare and stake it within something like a Firelight or anything of the sort. And it's going to be like you're earning delegation rewards, but for your XRP. So there's a lot of big things coming. I think there's a lot of opportunity, and I'm excited to see how quickly we can actually grow with this.
What about staking for Flare, either via direct staking or SEPT?
So you were breaking up a little bit, but I think you said other Flare earning mechanisms, either Flare staking or was it Scepter?
Yeah, so like either direct staking from like Flare or using Scepter and then like supplying other assets to Kinetic as well. Like you have ETH and you have other assets that you can supply.
Yeah,
Will that
there's
be available?
Yeah, we're looking into that. So the thing with Scepter is that currently you can basically just swap into S Flare right now, and you're getting a similar or better rate than you would if you were just straight up minting S Flare. So that's one thing. The other thing with staking directly on Flare, it's something that's just been on the back burner for a little bit because adding staking directly on Flare does create a little bit of a confusion for new users, right? Like that needs to be presented in the right way so that users know if they should be staking or they should be doing delegation. What are they going to earn more in? So it's just it makes things a little bit more complicated. But for Kinetic, another thing to understand with Kinetic is that you're going to be able to stake your FXRP or supply your FXRP. So whether you're doing liquid staking with Firelight, right, with XRP-Fi, or you're just, supplying your XRP to a loan protocol, you're going to be able to earn whichever way. So, so yeah, I mean, if does that answer the question? I mean, Kinetic is going to have additional staking tokens or supply tokens, as well as staking for Flare itself, and staking to validators it's just been on the back burner.
And what about liquidity pools? Like, because you could do right now stablecoin liquidity pools, which are like low risk, and you could do the conversion deposit, and then that's another way to make Rflare.
It's something that I've thought about, but it does complicate things because it might just be lower risk to supply it to. I mean, it's definitely lower risk to supply it to Kinetic. If the interest rates are similar or the earning rates are similar, then it's hard to justify adding it to the application for liquidity pools. But again, it's always in flux. I'm looking for the best platforms, the best protocols with the lowest risk that make the most sense so that it can just be presented to the user in that one-click fashion.
And what about like Raindex, like some DCA in or out strategies that you could say, okay, I want to sell my XRP above this price, and then you just do a few clicks, and then you can automatically get rid of that asset or buy.
I'm debating on creating an interface so that it's available for maybe an advanced user. There's also the idea that you go to your settings, you flip a switch, and it would be an advanced setting.
The trader mode, the degen trader mode.
Something along those lines, like you go to
Yeah.
Coinbase and you have your simple Coinbase and then you have your advanced mode. Again, that could be something that the liquidity pool one resides in as well. So it's definitely something that I've had some thoughts about. And it's mainly a priority thing, right? Like,
Right.
how much can I do in a little time with all these ideas and what makes the most sense at the time. So
one thing that I've noticed is that you can do like a little test that unlocks that advanced section. So you do like 5 questions about liquidity pools. Like if the user cannot answer those questions, he cannot unlock that advanced section.
Yeah, I think we talked about that actually, and I thought that was a great idea.
And then you're also like in a way teaching or making them do enough research that they know what they're clicking. But yeah, I feel like some things, like you said, are priorities. And once those are set, you can start playing and having fun with more advanced things.
Right.
We've learned that lesson very valuably in our development now. Like, what is the actual priority for our build out, and then what is fun for us that's going to be a nice add on.
Yeah, it's like, you have all these ideas and it's, what are you do have to kind of prioritize the product as well too. You don't want to cannibalize it. It's one thing that I did learn in my days as a corporate iOS developer is that like adding features is not always the end all be all, right? Like a lot of features just go unnoticed, unused, and you took all that time and you could have either enhanced a previous feature or you could have, maybe put it towards marketing or something else. I think there's a lot of apps that end up cannibalizing some of their main features just because they're trying to add more and more and more and more, as opposed to just creating a better experience for what they have, right? And it's kind of a delicate balance to toe the line with. So we're getting close. Like on Oxenflow, we're getting close to that point where it's like, okay, time to take a step back and sort of reevaluate. All right, these are the main features now. Like our full main feature set is here. How do we make this better? And then what really makes sense to add? So, you don't want to cannibalize your application as a whole just by adding more and more features because people don't even find some of those features too. That's the thing. You only have a limited amount of screen space to add everything.
So our approach, or my approach at least, is like, how do I solve my problems? And then that's the value that I'm adding to other people. Like that's kind of how I'm approaching. It's like, what problems do I encounter while doing DeFi? And then how do I make my life easier? And that's kind of like all I'm focusing right now, because I feel like if I can solve my own problem, then some people will need to have that use and some people won't. But like, it's solving my problem, and that's a good place to start.
No, I totally agree with you on that. But again, something to keep in mind is that like people have a wide range of problems, and you don't want to necessarily I guess silo yourself to your own problems, it's kind of a dance you got to do, but I think you're taking the right steps for that for sure.
So Nick, man, have you curious? Have you addressed that issue of the onboarding cash limitations that your system has yet?
Which one are you with Topper?
Yep.
Working on it.
That's a pretty low number for the amount of cryptocurrency that you'd expect to want to move through your wallet for sure.
Which
2,500? It was like 2,500 was the limit, or 1,500, something like that.
Oh, I will look at that again. So you're saying you were only able to onboard 2,500 through Topper?
Yep.
I'll look into that again. I know they should support more than that. So I will either follow up with them. I wonder if it's a jurisdictional thing or a state thing.
I'm curious.
And then I have another question for you, Nick. At some point, we would love to have the tracker that you could like interact with all the apps. And this is more like a developer part. Like, how hard is it to connect, like that I could interact with Kinetic from my app or with Spartex or whatever?
Just say it again.
So like at some point we would like our app that you could like deposit to Kinetic directly from our dashboard instead of having to go to Kinetic, or you could swap, or like all of those things. So how hard is it to integrate with Flare?
How hard was it for you to integrate Kinetic into your front end of Oxenflow?
So
yeah, how hard is that to do?
So I mean, it's a pretty high effort level because you need to understand the contract set that you're interacting with. So right, so Kinetic itself is made up of a bunch of smart contracts that are deployed on Flare. And it's similar smart contracts to a loan platform on Ethereum, because usually what happens is the contracts are open sourced on Ethereum, and they're taken and they're either like modified to some extent, and then they're redeployed on Flare. In order to like integrate directly with Kinetic, a Kinetic aside, Flare, say you wanted to integrate with delegation rewards and that kind of thing, you do need to understand the contract set there as well. I was already familiar with that contract set, so that was very easy for me. Now, Kinetic, on the other hand, was something that I needed to familiarize myself with. I needed to actually like understand where everything was coming from, how to deposit, how the inner workings of the actual contracts were working, how the interest was accrued, and that kind of thing. And what you have to do is you actually read through the code to figure this out. You read through the code, you read through the Explorer, and then you say, okay, well, I need to use this function, this function, this function, and this function. All right, if something goes wrong, I got to use this function to look something up. If I want to display these 5 things, I need to call these 5 different functions, or there's one function and I can do some kind of calculation to get it. So depending on how familiar you are with Solidity and making calls to you can even make it through the Explorer to start figuring this out, right? You go to either Flare Scan, or you go to the Flare Explorer, you go to maybe their entry point contract. There's usually 1 or 2 entry point contracts that you can use to start understanding, to dig down deeper. And the Explorers actually show if the contracts are verified, the Explorers show the code in line on the Explorers themselves. So it depends on how comfortable you are with reading Solidity. It depends how comfortable you are with executing those transactions from, the Explorer itself, and then to integrate within your application. I know that you guys do have a way to sign transactions, right? Like you're integrated with.
No. We are not interacting with Web3 at all.
Okay. Well, because that's the thing. I mean, if you want to be able to deposit into Kinetic, you're going to have something that you can sign transactions with for the user. The users can use as a pass-through, such as a MetaMask or Wallet Connector, that kind of thing. If you're just wanting to display the data, then you'll probably need to, just maybe read through some Solidity. And I mean, I know you guys are using AI now to be able to display what you have, but you might just need to kind of dig into it in case whatever you're using can't actually interpret the code itself, or the the parameters and format and everything correctly. So
yeah, what we have now for it's basically like a beautiful Excel. So I don't mind using AI for it, but for security stuff with Web3, like right now, I would not trust it at all. But I feel like that's the part that just becomes so much harder. Like we would like to implement a wallet connect just so that you can scan your phone and then that starts tracking your wallet or whatever. But like all of those things, once you start becoming like dealing with security and money, like that completely changes the game of what.
Yeah, I would. It definitely does. You have to worry about security. You have to worry about. I mean, it does. It creates more risk, right, on your guys' end. Like right now, you guys kind of keep risk limited because you're just displaying data that's already there. You're not changing any data. You're not modifying any data. You're not asking the user to do anything. Like once you start asking the user to do things and sign transactions, that's when it kind of gets, into these uncharted waters for you guys, at least, that, security really becomes a big thing. And you have to, in my mind, you have to understand how things work for you to understand the level of security that is necessary for that kind of thing, if that makes sense.
For sure. I mean, that we would need to have funds to actually hire somebody that knows how to
Right,
do
of
this.
course. Yeah.
Well, that's why we're hoping our Web 2 version pays for our Web 3 version. That's our vision, right? You get all these subscribers, they're on your Web 3, and then you hire Dev, and you see this, we want this in Web 3, but then we want the capability to stay in here and not go anywhere. That's your job. Make it happen. Come back when it's done.
Right. No, I think that's a good model. I
But yeah,
do.
because the dev doesn't have to figure out how we want everything to look. He doesn't have to figure out the charts. He's just got to go take this, put this onto here, figure out how to make the interactions happen that we want, and we're done.
Right.
Easy.
Do you guys, I'm assuming you have a code base, right?
Yeah, we've got a code base.
Okay.
We got it stored on GitHub now.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's a good step. Sometimes I don't know how people are interacting with some of these AI builders because there is code behind it. It's writing something, it's doing something. So uh, yeah, just curious if you guys had access or were, able to even modify some of the things that were previously done.
Yep, I believe we can on that. Like I said, we get access to code and we back it up and stuff. So,
Cool.
all right, Nick, man. So, do you have any final thoughts about Oxenflow and where you'd like to leave the people on what you're coming up? Like I said, I'm a big fan, so I can't say enough good things about Oxenflow. I really can't.
Uh, I just say go try it out. One of the things I said was I don't want to sell too hard. I shouldn't have to sell it hard because I think it's a good product and the product should sell itself. So
How many businesses have you ran?
say it again.
How many businesses have you ran?
Uh, a couple.
McDonald's does not make the best hamburger. I'm just gonna throw that out there, brother. Like throwing that one out there.
You're right. You're right. I think food's a little different though. But anyway, no, I get the point. You gotta have a little bit of both, but Oxenflow makes it easy. You don't really need any prior knowledge aside from the fact that you need to deposit money and tap a button to make your money earn money. So go try it out and let me know. I'm always open to feedback. I want to know what people are thinking, how they're using it, especially so that I can make that experience better. And yeah, that's what I'll leave it off with.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Nick, man, for joining us today. And guys, check out Oxenflow. It's in the App Store. Oh, excuse me. And you will not be disappointed. Introduce it to your grandma. I think she'll like it. I promise.
Perfect. Awesome. Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Nick, man. We'll get